No update. Just felt a little something in her groin, so we'll get it evaluated and see what happens from there.
Caitlin Clark did more than simply hobble off the court. She started crying. You're completely mistaken if you believe this was just another game.
Down to the end of the court, you can tell that she's in pain. You can tell that there's something wrong. She goes to the, what's it called, like stanchion or whatever, the thing that holds up the basketball hoop on the other end. She hits her head on it. She is fighting back tears and she walks straight over to the bench. Now, when she goes over to the bench, she starts crying, and I've honestly never seen Caitlin Clark cry on the court except when she lost the national championship game. She keeps it together no matter what is happening, but you could just tell that something happened on that play, and it was either the pain of it, it was either like, here we go again, it was frustration.
There was more than just an injury sustained by the Connecticut Sun. Her coach, her front office, and the league all failed miserably. Are you curious about the true cause of Caitlin Clark's suffering? Let's dissect everything because we've had enough. Let's not act as though something happened suddenly. From day one, we could see the warning flags. What did they do when Caitlin Clark suffered a quad injury during the preseason rather than providing her with the rest she needed? Returned her to Iowa for a game of exhibition. Why? PR, ticket sales, and excitement. It wasn't about health, it was about headlines. She then made things worse during the season. What took place? Yes, they did sit her for a while, but as soon as things were difficult, she was back out there repeatedly. Did anyone pause to inquire about her readiness? Or did they simply shove her back into uniform after seeing monetary signs? She is currently experiencing a groin problem. After another rain jury. Is this her career's new normal? Because it seems like the Fever are okay with the way they are treating her. I want to know whether LeBron, Steph, or Luka would have to play through this, or if their team would truly defend their franchise guy. It appeared to be a harmless play. Clark created a sleek backdoor dish that is one of her signature dishes. The audience adored it. Classic Caitlin, but she didn't immediately return. She took one step, two, froze, grasped her groin, and then leaned over. The change in energy was instantly apparent. She was clutching her hip as the camera panned. Her expression was unmistakable. Since she always did that, she tried to tough it out. However, she left after that. Nor running, nor high-fiving substitutes. Head buried, he limped straight to the stanchion. Just pure agony, without any drama or flipping. I'm not sure about you, but I've never witnessed Caitlin Clark sobbing like that. She has been pushed to the ground, had her body checked, and had her face bowed, but she has never displayed such emotion. What does that indicate, then? Do you know what's absurd? This league has absolutely thrown everything at her. Kennedy Carter gave her a shoulder check. She tried to get flattened by Marina Maberry. Every game, she has taken hits. She appears to be being jumped in a parking lot. And no tears yet. She gets up, removes the contact, and continues. Not tonight, though. It was different tonight. There was more than just anguish when Caitlin buried her face in the towel. It was weariness. Mental, physical, and emotional. It was visible to you. At last, her breaking point was reached. Furthermore, it wasn't a hit. It resulted from her body abandoning her. In that front office, that should frighten everyone. Because it indicates that they have been pushed too far when someone that tough ultimately lets go. For what purpose? To avoid the July heat? To sell out another game on the road? How much does it cost? Before the All-Star break, you don't run your starlet into the ground and expect her to remain silent forever. When Clark was sitting there sobbing, what do you suppose she was thinking? Do you believe she is beginning to doubt everything? The referees arrive just when you think the evening could go much worse. They let Connecticut to get away with murder from the start. Clark is being hand-checked, grabbed, and held as he exits each screen. And there was no sign of the whistle. She had reached her breaking point by the third quarter. She was shouting after each missed call, as you could see. Then, as the camera pans in during a review, she turns to the referee and says, "Grow up. Right up." Just pure annoyance, without any filter or fear. Is she to blame? This is nothing new. Since the first game, she has been the object of physical defense. Tonight was different. She was no longer able to conceal her anger. To be honest, I'm relieved that someone had to say it. She has not been shielded by the referees. She finally said it herself because her coach hadn't. However, I would like to know why she is the only one defending herself. What is obscured by the confusion? Nevertheless, Caitlin Clark appeared. She finished with 14 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, and a box score of 21 prior to the injury. She set up her teammates, managed transitions, and planned the attack. The fever took over while she was on the ground. Connecticut filled the space when she seated. She continued to work despite all of the wounds, poor decisions, and cold shooting. She also lost her temper in the fourth quarter, just before the injury. The dagger stretch, a long three, a backdoor cut, a mid-range pull-up, free throws, and boom, boom, boom. She provided the necessary buffer for Indiana. Her body then failed her. And that is the most painful thing. She is exerting every effort to ensure the survival of this squad. And who will be there for her when she breaks? Where is the safety? Where is the responsibility? Okay, so since these rotations made no sense at all, we had to discuss Stephanie White. Clark sits for 5 minutes, plays for 4, then sits for 6. How is she meant to establish a rhythm? With a soft tissue damage, how is her body expected to maintain its flexibility? Have you ever tried to jump back in the cold after playing ball with painful quadriceps or tight hips? It's a catastrophe. You are a jerk. You tense up. You run the danger of getting hurt again. That's precisely what's taking place. Furthermore, White grabs her immediately after she makes a huge shot. When she scores runs, she benches her. Even though their relationship is obviously failing, she still has Clark and Ari McDonald on the floor together. What is the strategy here? Although Caitlin is being cycled like a bench rookie, you would expect that she would be treated like a franchise player. She's paying the price now, you see. How long before Clark declares, "I'm done"? Let's be honest. This is not a strategy. Panic, chaos, and despair are all present. Play Caitlin, Camp Day, and All-Star Weekend. Encourage her to continue. There are many people in the crowd. Insert her. The groin is still sore. Sell those tickets, then. Every choice seems hasty and reactionary. Not a single action seems to be intended for her long-term well-being. Even worse, she is being chased throughout the nation. Press, planes, and events. Since she never sleeps, how is she expected to recover? She has a tightness in her quadriceps. Despite having a groin problem, she dresses like she's 100% every night. Is the front desk even capable of handling a superstar? Or do they simply assume she won't say no? You are aware of what Stephanie White stated following the game, aren't you? In her crotch, she sensed something. We'll have it assessed. Does that sound familiar? Yes, it should. When Clark had a quad problem a few weeks ago, they stated the same thing. And you know what took place? She was absent for 10 days. The story was the same the time before that. Daily, they said. Then she disappeared once more. How are we to think it's nothing serious when they hit us with the same line again? Let's be honest. Each and every time, Caitlin Clark has returned too early. And each time she is injured, it gets worse eventually. It's not unlucky. It's simply poor management. When injuries are handled more like a public relations issue than a medical one, this is what occurs. The supporters deserve more when your head coach responds in a robotic manner to avoid criticism rather than taking responsibility for the true situation. Caitlin is worthy of more. She is not merely a player. She is the focal point, the attraction, and the cause of the attention. Furthermore, if she isn't receiving honesty, neither are we. Why is it so difficult for them to simply speak the truth? Is their goal to cover up their own errors or to actually safeguard her? Because they don't seem to be exercising caution at the moment. They seem to be acting irresponsibly. What do you think, then? Is Stephanie White telling the truth, or is this merely smoke to hide yet another poor choice? Remember that technically, Indiana prevailed in this match. 85-77 was the final score. It appears sturdy on paper. 23 points were lost by Kelsey Mitchell. The painting was dominated by Natasha Howard. Off the bench, Sophie Cunningham provided valuable minutes. Everything appears to be in order when you check the box score, right? Here's the problem, though. At this point, none of that really matters. Not at all. People will only remember Caitlin Clark limping off the court in agony with tears streaming down her face as a result of this game. Fans will remember that picture for a lot longer than the final score. To be honest, it ought to. A victory is good, but how do you rejoice when your team's best player, and, to be honest, the face of the WNBA as a whole, becomes physically and emotionally distraught in front of the world? When your leader is crying, how do you enter the locker room with a smile? It should have been a celebration tonight, a boost to self-esteem before the vacation. Rather, it became a huge wake-up call. What goes on in the background in Indiana? Who is making the decisions? Why are they allowing this to occur? In a single game, coaching failure, medical failure, and leadership failure all fell apart. I'll pose the query that nobody wants to respond to. Was that victory truly worthwhile? Because it seemed like the price was much too much from where I was seated. It's actually that easy. Put her in a full-seated position. Not for a few of minutes. Not under a fictitious minute constraint. Simply sit her down. Keep her quiet for a little. No three-point competition. No all-star match. No. Tomorrow, we'll see how she feels. Let the charade end. You must stop putting her out there in this manner. She has already overcome a quad injury. It's a groin problem now. What comes next? Are we anticipating an Achilles rupture or an ACL tear? Because something really serious will happen soon if you continue to push her body in this way. Give the girl some time to relax. Allow her to heal properly at last. Additionally, she could well be able to make a good comeback during the season's second half. If she hasn't already mentally checked out of this series, that is. Sincerely, if she did, would you hold her accountable? She is not being treated as a person, but rather as a product. As if she were merely a body to roll out for jersey numbers and ticket sales. She is more than that, though. Your franchise is her. She is the one who brought attention back to this league, filled venues, and smashed viewing records. So, this is the query. Are you certain that the Fever are acting in Caitlin Clark's best interests? Their actions give the impression that they are defending their company rather than their player. Don't be surprised if she finally says, "I'm done," if this continues. Don't be shocked if she leaves. Because there is currently no indication that they are concerned enough to halt their actions.